Welcome to the Fellowship of the Script, the podcast where we dive deep into the art and business of film. I am your host, Derek J. Bowder.
And I'm your other host, Ben Escobar.
Today we're talking about some of the biggest news stories to hit the film and TV industry recently, such as the Oscars banning AI, kinda, Hollywood's obsession with Curry Barker. See what I did there? And yeah, how fans are divided over Zach Kreger's new Resident Evil movie, and a couple of other things. But before we get into that, if you're watching or
Yeah.
listening on Spotify,
I was going to say the same thing. If you're watching or listening on Spotify, make sure to follow us so you get notified every time we drop a new episode. Every follow counts, every rating counts. So, just helps a ton with the whole podcast recommendation and all that stuff. We really appreciate it.
yeah, and before we get into our big news story, something just happened before we filmed. Big announcement. While we were in our little hiatus, the WGA came to an agreement with the AMPTP, right? Is that what it's
I think so.
called?
Well, yeah,
Something like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, the writers are not striking, and as you may know, as we've talked about, kind of the idea that some strikes may be happening in previous episodes. There's the other unions. There's IATSE, which is kind of like that encompasses a lot of different stuff. And then there's the big unions like the WJ, which we just mentioned, SAG-AFTRA, which is the actors union, the directors guild, which they don't strike very often from what I've noticed.
Yeah.
And then the producers guild, which has there been a producers guild strike? I don't even know.
I don't think they can strike. It's more of
No?
a
It's
collective
not the same,
thing.
right? Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, there's no protections. It's more of
It's more
a
like
membership club thing.
stamp of approval or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Wouldn't
these
that be nice?
yeah, these unions, the ones that can strike, they negotiate the contracts, and about every 3 years, they have these negotiations. Well, the WGA agreed to a 4-year contract, and the actors union, SAG-AFTRA, just agreed to one today at the time of this recording. And they also agreed to a 4-year contract. Before I get into my quick little thoughts about that, Ben, how do you feel about all that?
I'm glad there's no strike. That's for sure. It definitely keeps morale up, and I think that would just really slow things down while times are really vulnerable. That said, it's definitely a point of conversation to see how much compromise was there and how much real sincerity was put towards things like AI, which the last strike was more of we'll put it in there, just be safe. But now it's it's a real point of conversation, and it's more importantly, for their terms, it's going to be a real point of monetization. And if there's no protection for that, that's kind of a big ordeal right now in a place that's not getting much work and monetization. So
one of the big issues that I have, first of all, I'm glad it seems like there are not going to be strikes, because for a while it looked like the perfect storm where we were going to have all the unions strike at once, even worse than last time. 4 years, I don't know how I feel about 4-year contracts, because AI is evolving so fast that I think 3 years is where it needed to be kept at. A lot could change in 4 years. So, yay, no strikes. Because if SAG and the WGA agreed to it, or agreed to the terms, then everybody else is DGA, IATSE. They're probably all going to fall in suit as well, follow suit, and agree as well. So, I don't think there's going to be any strikes anymore. But now I'm worried what things are going to be like, because they kicked the AI can very far down the road. And it's changing so fast. Every 6 months it seems like things are worse with AI. So
yeah,
it's gonna be a different world in 4 years.
Yeah, man.
But we'll keep you guys updated on the other unions, and maybe even talk about what the agreement entailed for the unions and like the big talking points. But unless you have anything else you want to say about that, Ben, ready to move on to the next
No,
or
I
the
agree.
first big topic.
I would just hope that, well, I know for a fact, like within 4 years, we're going to have some sort of like pretty groundbreaking, earth shattering AI developments. That's going to be,
I think there already are.
yeah, we're
Yeah.
there. And like the fact that it's only getting better and like, and there's just so many new problems to be had before we realize it, before we even could think of it. I could see there being some sort of amendment or like addition thing that's just like an entirely different new clause. Because like I said, the money opportunity in AI is what everyone's going to be looking at, and selling your rights and also understanding like new forms of residuals in the form of AI is going to be a big deal. And, people could, everyone's going to be able to eat off that, managers, agents, and the actors and the writers and all that fucking shit. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, and we've been mentioning AI a lot already, so it's the perfect segue into our first big story of the episode. The Oscars banned AI, kinda. So the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences just made a major announcement when it comes to AI and being eligible for Oscars, and basically there are two big developments in that, and that is that no AI actors will be allowed to win awards. So that's good. Very good, especially for actors. Like I'm sure that's a big sigh of relief. And then the other thing is scripts will have to be like I guess uh evaluated to make sure that it doesn't seem like AI was used to generate them in any way. So only human writers. So that's huge for writers. And then there was some other little small bullet points when it comes to other stuff. Like they're going to let AI be used as a tool for like VFX and stuff. It seems like VFX is the biggest loser so far when it comes to AI being integrated into the industry. Um, so yeah, that's one of the two big pillars that I mentioned. I thought needed to fall in order to stop AI from like ruining the industry right away. And so one of those was don't allow awards for AI films or films that used AI for big portions of the creative aspects of film. And then the other thing is, they need to, in my opinion, they would need to do something to limit the profitability of films generated by AI, which yet to see that happen. Besides, like boycotts and stuff. So, yeah, how you feeling about all that?
It's interesting because it's a nice, start, but it's very obvious. It's like obviously Tilly Norwood and the AI actors should not be getting Oscars.
Yeah,
um, the it's a question of like kind of what the line is, because there's a lot of pushback about generative AI, but tool usage and technical usage of AI sort of like I fast tracking certain stuff, especially in VFX, especially is why this gets touched on so much. Is it's very easy to automate things that are like busy work and stuff, in terms of like somebody in VFX that's working shot by shot to do some sort of VFX work or like a sky replacement or like adding snow to a scene. It's a very shot by shot thing. But suddenly if you're and that takes like maybe 5 people to do it for like one 10-minute scene, it's like all that stuff that could be now done by like 1 or 2 people because of an AI automation. Or like I know this with trailer editors right now. It used to be a thing where you have to watch, if you're editing a trailer for a series, you got to watch that whole series multiple times to understand what's happening, and then also spot all of these specific things for the type of trailer you need to do. So like if you're doing like an action focused one, you got to get all the gas pedal ones, like pedal to the metal moments, and the gunfires, and the fucking sync up the gunfires with the music and all that. Um, it's becoming a thing where you can just type in, give me all the gunfire shots real quick and clip them up and chop them up for me. And then it's done for you right then and there. So who knows? It's like, And there's awards for trailer editors. Like, what does that look like? What's their AI
I've won
rules?
an award for I won some awards for trailers that I've edited. Like
Right?
it's
Yeah.
a thing.
Yeah. And so I don't know. I think it's a nice start, but like let's not just say we did it for like the obvious stuff. You know what I mean? I think like the Tilly Norwood,
Yeah.
obviously she's not
Well,
allowed to get an Oscar. But
to kind of piggyback on that, the other thing to keep in mind is that we're starting to see actors being like resurrected by AI, and so I think it's really important that they're
yeah.
like, oh, Val Kilmer can't win he can't be eligible for an Oscar even though he's dead. Like
So
that's also
yeah.
important to remember because one of the things that I think is going to help keep AI generated stuff from being profitable is the fact that not having any notable stars makes it really hard to market a film. And so not being able to do an Oscar push with a film that has like dead AI actors in it, like that's I think really important. And so that's some real progress against AI and filmmaking, I would say, just happened. It's like kind of a shining light amongst all the doom and gloom. So, if you want to win some Oscars with your indie film, which is possible, it happens, um, you know, now maybe take a look and make sure that you're not going to be using AI in any way that's going to disqualify you. You know, whoever these big, rich, ambitious listeners are that we have. But no, seriously, if you're right now, there's nothing to stop you from generating an AI script and making a movie with it. And so now you can't be eligible for an Oscar that way. And I think the other awards, what are the other big ones? I mean, obviously, like festivals need to also follow suit, but there's the Golden Globes and the Emmys, so they need to follow suit on this. So our next story, before we get into our ad break, Hollywood's obsession with Curry Barker lately. This is one I've seen a lot of people say. They're like, it is so hard not to be jealous right now of Curry Barker. That guy is just on fire, dude. Like,
It's a good
funny.
time. It's cool,
yeah,
and it's inspiring.
Well, it's funny because I see a lot of people saying like, "Oh, overnight success," but I mean, we've been kind of watching him for like the last couple of years, last 2.5 years or so.
Yeah,
just kind of catapult.
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff to kind of break down here. A lot of things going on. It's just been article after article. I saw Deadline put another one up today because he keeps talking about Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is he got tapped by A24 to do the movie because they're doing a movie and a series. So this is going to be a remake. So this would be the second like remake, right?
I guess so.
Yeah, there's a 2003 one, which I have not seen. I've only seen the original and like the new Netflix one. I haven't seen any of the other ones, but maybe I should.
Yeah, I've only seen the original myself, actually, but
They're I hear it's one like out of like the big slasher franchises, it seems like Texas Chainsaw Massacre is the least consistent from what I've seen.
Yeah.
So,
but it's very respected, and I think like he's got big shoes to fill, but I think he's going to be the perfect guy for the job, especially with like the ultimate task at hand is they need to make it great again.
yeah, but he's already kind of dealing with what I fear. Like I've talked about, we've answered like questions during our Q&A episodes about like, oh, if you had the chance to like make this movie or that movie.
Oh
yeah. When it comes to like IPs, the thing that I always talk about is that you are playing a very different ball game when it comes to IP because there's already a fan base, and if you upset the fan base, then you're kind of fighting an uphill battle there, and that's already started. I'm seeing mostly positive, but at least from what I've seen, and I've been paying attention because I'm curious, because nobody, well, the general public doesn't get to see Obsession for another like 2 weeks. But I think once that one comes out, and I assume it's going to get a lot of positive buzz because it already has. People are calling it like their favorite horror movie of the year. I think that's going to reassure some of the people who are like not sure about this Curry Barker guy who just popped up getting the reins to something like that, because it doesn't happen very often that somebody that new gets to do something that big or that respected, cherished, all those things. And it seems like about, I would say, 60-40, maybe 70-30, with like 30 to 40% of the comments that I'm seeing are like, not another remake. Get ready for like some Gen Z thing, like they're just kind of like talking down or talking bad about it. Where it kind of feels like that stuff's kind of like rising to the top, like most negative comments do, because those are what cause conversation and get like people commenting or replying to that comment. But if you scroll, like most of the comments that I've seen are positive, which is cool. I see a lot of people say, just wait till you see Obsession. And so I'm like, okay, I'm Obsession I'm going into now with like max hype because I've nothing but like great things about it. So very excited. I think that's really cool. I think it's inspiring. I think it's good for content creators who are becoming filmmakers, such as myself. But before we kind of like get into like general thoughts, he also has a project that just wrapped filming this last month in Canada called Anything But Ghosts that he co-wrote and also directed and I guess he's starring in with his kind of like partner in crime that he did his social media skits with, which seems like he's not doing anymore, and I don't blame him because he's got plenty of stuff to do otherwise. Like he's totally made it. Dude's loaded now. Like after but they just picked up his other project, Anything But Ghosts, Focus Features, the same ones who picked up Obsession, and Blumhouse I think produced this one. Like they were there from like the start on that one. And they've been just, I mean, they announced that it wrapped. They announced that Aaron Paul is a part of the cast. Bryce Dallas Howard is a part of the cast. The girl from, God, I'm sorry, I can't remember her name. The girl from the Megan movies, like the little girl that is like the one who's like friends with Megan in the movie. She's in it now.
Oh, sure.
I'm guessing they're like playing a family or something is what it sounds like. Like there's from what I've seen, it's like there's these ghost hunters who like disprove that places are haunted. Like they're like content creators is what I'm guessing. And then they stumble upon this family with a house that's genuinely haunted, and so now they're like, yeah. So it's like kind of like it seems like it's going to be like a Gen Z spin on The Conjuring is what it looks like to me, which I think is really cool. I think that's a really fun idea. I think it's going to be a very funny movie from what it sounds like and looks like. So
it does sound like fun. I'm very interested in seeing that.
But man, he's turning them around quick, man. Obsession is coming out in 2 weeks, and he just wrapped his next film already, and then he's doing Texas Chainsaw Massacre next. Like, holy shit, dude.
I think it's cool.
A lot of pressure.
I agree with what the comments are saying in that it's a very Gen Z move, but like, in my opinion, the only Gen Z thing about it is just the name and the, where he kind of comes from and like the hype around, did you hear that Curry Barker is doing this movie? And like, they know what they're doing. They know it's a big headline. Like every decision you have to make as a producer, especially like with every project at that scale, you have to envision, is this a clickable deadline article? Is this something that you're talking about with your friends? Like a, did you know, that's actually very compelling. And of course, yeah, Curry Barker doing Texas Chainsaw Massacre is that. And it's just like that other filmmaker who's doing Blair Witch Project, who's also a content creator turned, director. And what I like about this is that it's a safe enough bet on paper for like a, established filmmaker with a following who can do it. You know what I mean? But then also fills in what the project is requiring, which is you got to make Blair Witch great again. You got to make Texas Chainsaw great again. What is the two things that those things have in common is that they were done by indie filmmakers with, very small names. That was a, quality over quantity type of production that was a breakout. And if you're trying to, make lightning strike twice, why not do that again? Why are you handing it off to some horror vet that's going to do this, perfect remake of that when it's not the spirit of what those are? And so I'm excited. I'm very optimistic about that. And I'm very excited to see Obsession, obviously. But yeah, just inspiring and cool to see for other content creators.
The original rights holders of Tremors got the rights back. So, once Around Midnight comes out, hit me up. I'll do a Tremors movie. No, but it's like I've said, and I'm just gonna keep reiterating it as time goes on, I'm sure. We are in a content creator filmmaker renaissance right now. Like totally. And I'm very excited to see where things are headed. I'm excited to see people let fresh new voices take a crack at things that those people love and like cherish and will at least attempt to do it justice instead of just, somebody who's like, oh, a big payday. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds cool. Yeah, I'll do a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. No, like you can tell when Curry's talked about it in front of the cameras, like he genuinely respects it. I think he's being careful about what he's saying, and that's what's leading to some discourse because he keeps saying that, like, I want you to care about these characters and things like that. And people are like, oh, why do we need to care about somebody who's going to get chopped up by a chainsaw? No, my theory is that he's talking about the family. Like, he wants you to care about the family, which is, I think, the way to go. I think that's where there's some stuff that hasn't been tapped into yet, where
I agree.
you're almost on, like, maybe it's from the point of view of like the Leatherface family. I think it's kind of been done, but not in a way that I think Curry Barker is envisioning.
Yeah,
So,
and it's because it's a very tight rope to walk, because if you do the indie filmmaker who's going to do the origin or however new take of Texas Chainsaw, like, it's a lot safer of a bet than having the big, veteran studio director, and then you get the Joker version of, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is kind of what the opposite end is. It's like, call in this veteran director, and then it's like, we'll do the one name title, and it's like Leatherface, and it's like Joker, where you have to, like, have sympathy for Leatherface. But I don't think that's a very good take. So I think what they're going to do is in the right direction. I'm optimistic about it.
the one thing that it's got me thinking about, I mean, first of all, big ups to Curry Barker. Like, that's literally, like, I mean, we're seeing like him go on like a generational run right now in terms of like star power rise. Like, it's from a director standpoint, which you don't see as often. You see actors blow up and stuff like that all the time, but very rarely is there like the director's name is being talked about. He's slowly becoming like a household name. Um, I mean, he's like what, 25 or something like that. That's crazy, dude. Just crazy. And I think what it's made me kind of contemplate and think about is, okay, this is obviously, like I said, a renaissance, and there are these content creators who are getting they're getting studio attention. They're getting their projects like noticed, and that's leading to them getting to do really cool stuff. The one thing that keeps standing out to me though is that it's like all horror. Pretty much everything has been horror. And so my personal takeaway from this is I'm glad to be a part of this like renaissance that's happening, however small a part of it I am. But I think that I want to learn from what these people are doing. And I think one thing that I've learned is I want to try and break in without only doing horror. Like, my next film, I want it to be crime. Because we're not seeing somebody like, oh my gosh, they do this film and then they get like their next film greenlit and it's like some crazy horror film. I want to do a crime film that's like, not Breaking Bad the movie, but it's like Gen Z Breaking Bad kind of thing. Like, I want there to be like danger and shock from a crime point of view, something really grounded, you know. And I've been thinking about ways to still do some cool where like it's horror adjacent, you know, but I want it to be crime focused. I don't want it to be horror focused. And I think Around Midnight being more drama, mystery, coming of age, I think is already steering me in that direction. But yeah, like, does that make sense to you, Ben?
It does, yeah. It's a matter of like finding your own voice. It always has felt like it's either comedy or it's horror that, you know, a lot of the content creator, you know, turned, you know, household name filmmakers. That's a classic trajectory. But I think there's absolutely a way to do it beyond those two genres. So that's cool.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's like I want to do some cult stuff or something mixed in just to give it kind of like a, I don't know. I've got ideas, but you know, I do want there to be some sinister vibes there that allow me to have some moments of like gore, shock value. I still want to do rated R, but I don't want to do a horror movie because I don't know. I'm worried that there's like everybody right now who has any amount of a following is like, okay, that's what I need to do. I need to like make a really good horror movie and have like a really cool, like high concept one ready to go. You know, because Curry Barker did Milk and Cereal. That got some buzz for how creative and like smart it was with its budget, all the circumstances surrounding it, and then boom, does a high concept horror film, and now he's doing a horror comedy, and now he's doing a horror IP. It's horror, horror, horror. You know, Talk to Me, Bring Her Back, both horror movies. The Backrooms movie, horror movie. Um, what is it? The Evil Dead one that got done by a YouTuber. Prey, that is kind of like a horror movie, but it leaned more action. And but that was like, you know, IP. I can't remember what he did before that, but I think it was a horror movie. So it's like, I don't know, man. Everybody's doing horror. I kind of don't want to do horror.
Yeah, it's
If
cheap
I could
and
do
it sells.
something, yeah, but you know, I do think that we're going to. It's going to take longer because we're talking about a genre that encompasses more than just superheroes, but very much like the superhero thing, where after like 10, 15 years, everybody's like, all right, I'm kind of tired of superhero movies. And that's very clear that like the general audience doesn't get excited about superhero movies very much anymore. Not
Yeah.
unless it's something real special like Superman or Spider-Man, or Batman, like these big ones. And so I think people are going to get burnt out on horror. Maybe not now, maybe not next year, but give it another 5 to 10 years. I think people are going to be like, all right, like I want to get excited about something that's not horror, you know, because it's just like after a certain point, it feels like you've seen it all, or like everybody's doing a spin on something that's already been done, or you know, and I don't know, I want to do different stuff, you know, or if I do have some cool horror ideas that I've been cooking up, or like some psychological thriller type stuff, but I really want to do something crime related next. I just love crime stuff. To me, it lends itself to so many like fun, dangerous, grounded situations and scenarios and things. And um, you know, I like doing setups, and I think people will notice that in Around Midnight. There's like setups all around the film. But
Mm.
when it comes to crime, you're like, oh man, like I think I know where this is going, and that's gonna be bad. Like someone's gonna get got, you know, like whereas like a horror movie, you're going in, you're like, all right, when's the first person dying? We already know this is gonna happen. So, you know, but and not only that, crime stuff, just I mean, it's one thing to be like, ooh, you know, this family's being haunted by this demon, Bagul or whatever it is, and you're like, oh shit, that's pretty scary, but that's not real. But like the cartel and like all that stuff, like that
Yeah.
stuff's real. That's scary, you know. Like I want to tap into like something else, something that's more like scary on like a grounded level, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, real interesting to just see like what's going on. And but the cool thing is to see that like now people are like, oh, a YouTuber got picked up to do this, and everybody's like, holy shit, I used to watch their videos, or like I've seen that person. So stay on the lookout. Someday people are gonna be like, yeah, the crumble cookie guy, he's doing a movie.
Let's go.
Yeah, you know, yeah.
That'll be fun.
But Yeah, or the Crumble Cookie guy and the Genie Boy Games guy are doing a movie. you know,
Guy who hit that one Warzone clip way back in the day.
yeah, the get behind that rock guy.
Oh God.
Anyways, it's really interesting because every day you see somebody going viral for something, but not everybody gets handed a legacy horror franchise like that this early into their career and at this age. Um, it's cool to see younger and younger people getting opportunities to, um, express things through art because, in the past it's been older people usually who get their hands on stuff like this and big budgets. So, I think Gen Z and millennials are going to millennials already are, but I think Gen Z specifically is really going to start to feel like their voice is heard or like stuff appeals to them, and that has the opportunity to reinvigorate um, the film community, people that love movies, bring movie theaters back, things like that. Which we're going to talk about something that might be helping with that later. But I don't know. So many people are complaining that movies aren't good anymore. Everything's IP, everything's a sequel, everything's some big budget blockbuster, and the tide's changing a little bit, and in a way that I think is really cool, and it makes it feel like it's really achievable for anybody. So I hope so too. But so far, it's very promising. But yeah, Curry Barker, man. I don't know how that guy sleeps at night knowing he's got so much to do. He's editing his next film while brainstorming what to do with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's crazy. Yeah, let us know in the comments. Are you excited for this Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake? Very curious to hear what you think. I think he's a great choice. I think it's really cool to see A24 making bold swings like that, and I hope more people follow suit. So let's do a little ad break. Subscribe to the Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube, wherever you enjoy the show. We would really appreciate it. Turn on the notification bell so that you get notified anytime we drop a new episode. You can also follow us on social media if you want to see what we're doing outside of the podcast. I go by at Danny Dorito 23.
I go by at Genie Boy Games or at Real Ben Escobar.
You can join our free Discord server if you want to hang out and talk with other people who enjoy the podcast or really love movies. And we have a Patreon that you can support us through where we do exclusive giveaways. We do a G Fuel Tub giveaway every month. There's opportunities to get producer credits, join us for our hangouts, ask a question for our monthly Q&A episode. We also have a film fellowship that we do once a month where us fellow filmmakers in the Discord get together and we talk about the projects we're working on. So lots of stuff that you can do through the Patreon. We would appreciate your support, and we hope to see you join us for some of those hangouts. And you could save 15% if you subscribe annually. So save yourself some money and be a part of this community. G Fuel code Danny D gets you 30% off at gfuel.com. I drink it every day. I think Ben drinks it a lot too. It is the best energy drink on the planet, if you ask me. I wanted to highlight a new flavor because I'm doing that now every episode. There is a scary movie flavor called Scary Flavor that is sour cherry, and you can join the wait list for that. Again, don't forget to use code DannyD to get 30% off. There is a water bottle, and I'm thinking about getting the collector's box just for the water bottle. It's got like the fake ghost face like smiley guy on it, but it says "suck me," and I just think that's hilarious.
That's interesting.
Yeah, sour cherry.
Changing.
Sour cherry was one of my favorite flavors, and so I'm excited to get the 2.0 version of that.
Cool.
But yeah, get that scary movie flavor, and yeah, shout out to G Fuel for fueling the filmmaking sessions. Speaking of filmmaking, on to our next story. Zach Cregger's the new Resident Evil movie teaser trailer dropped. Ben, how you feel about it?
It is what it is. I think they I don't want to like pick it apart. I don't want to be that guy, but like from the makers of Until Dawn comes Resident Evil, this is from the same makers of Until Dawn. I don't know, man. It's okay. I thought the trailer was weird. I thought it was just a very basic,
I
very
loved
like,
it.
really?
Yeah, I thought it was a great teaser trailer because I knew what he was trying to do,
He's
like
trying to
from the
make like
start.
the video game experience into the movie. I respect it. I get it.
It's like making his own video game, but in movie form. Is
Yeah,
literally what it feels like. And I think based off the trailer, if that's his goal, then I'm very excited.
it's a cool concept. I'm optimistic about it. By all means, I'm gonna see it. That said, I noticed that all in the same day when the trailer was revealed, there was like a swarm of Zach Kreger interviews about the thing where he's like either on video talking about it and like saying, "Look, I put the herb and the plant, the green herb, and I got the pot from Resident Evil 4," and he's like doing all this like what if it came like a couple days later, it would become for some. I think it would come across as like damage control from like backlash against the trailer, but it was aligned with the whole thing. And I think if you watched both, you'll feel a lot better about the movie. If you see the trailer on its own and you don't know all this like additional commentary and press he's been doing, I think it might be easier to not like it. I think there's remains to be seen. I'm gonna watch it. I'm optimistic about it. That said, I you know it's not going to be a Silent Hill. Obviously, Silent
Well, you
Hill
know what
was
kind of movie it is, though, right?
What do you mean?
It's a chase movie.
Yeah,
So, like, I don't know. We don't get very many of those that are
that's
good.
fair.
He's been calling it like a horror movie if it was like Mad Max Fury Road, and I'm like, dude, if that's how you shot the action, it's gonna be awesome.
There's clearly a lot of big set pieces in it. I'm excited for it. Um,
I love chase movies
I do too. No, I
when
think
they're
it's a
done
good.
right.
Yeah, I think it's a good concept. Uh, do I think Resident Evil requires that? Maybe, and I'm open to being convinced. Positively. But also, I don't think we need necessarily this is Leon Kennedy and this is Chris Redfield and
They just did that, and nobody watched it.
yeah, we don't need that. So
So
I don't know. I'm gonna see it. I'm cautiously optimistic. That's where I'll leave it.
I trust Zach Kreger. I got faith, and
Okay.
the trailer reassured me. I think that and this is like I said, um, it's basically what Curry Barker's dealing with, but on a major scale. You know, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, um, definitely more of a niche cult following, whereas Resident Evil is something that like, I mean, that shit's international. You know what I mean? Like that
Yeah.
is a huge franchise that everybody kind of agrees there hasn't been a good movie done yet. And I think this is going to be a good movie. Do I think it's going to be some kind of masterpiece? Probably not. But I think that given how much I liked Weapons, how much I liked Barbarian, I think it'll be pretty close, if not in that same kind of caliber. I think that it's going to be him just having fun, but fun with intention. And I think the fact that he wasn't really allowed to use like the monsters and stuff like that, from what I saw, it looked like they got creative. And so all of that gets me excited. I'm excited to see something new. And I think that's why I feel better about it, is because I'm not going in going, all right, this better be full of Easter eggs and callbacks to like every video game. And, you know,
Yeah.
there's some cool theories. Have you heard some of the theories?
I think there was one I saw that I'm blanking on, but in the moment I saw it, I was like, oh, that's interesting. But what have you seen?
The one that stuck out to me is they think that there's that, I can't remember what they call him. Starts with like a T or something like that. But basically, one of the traders, I think, like the guy who like literally you go to him and he gives you like you upgrade your stuff.
Oh, yes, and this is his origin movie. That's
Yeah,
the one I
that's.
saw
I
too. I
don't
like
think
that
that's
one.
what it's going to be, but that would be so cool if that's what it was. It'd be like, oh,
Dude,
now this guy's just going to like sell weapons.
that would
He opens a gun shop.
that'd be so crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
to see the origin of that character and how like scarred and crazy he gets, maybe like his face burns off and he's like, "So what are you buying?" And that's the final line of the movie.
By the way,
So
what's his
harsh.
name? Like Austin Abrams? Is that the actor's name?
I think so.
Yeah, I thought he was fantastic in Weapons. He was like the highlight for me. I thought he played
Who did he play?
he played that like meth head or something. The one who
Oh.
like the one who like discovers where all the kids are.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Spoiler alert. If you haven't seen Weapons, what the hell are you doing? That movie
Yeah.
was great.
That's really cool. Okay.
Yeah, and the other thing I want to point out is that all of my favorite scenes and a lot of the scenes that people talk about in Weapons are like freaking chase scenes. Like every like chase scene in that movie is 10 out of 10, dude. Like
That's true.
my favorite scene was when the cop is like chasing after Austin Abrams and like the camera's in like the back seat and
Yeah.
like it turns before the car does, so it gives you this cool kind of like lag effect. I'm like, dude, that feels like a video game. And sure enough, like I bet you he's gonna be doing that all over Resident Evil.
So interesting. You know, okay, the more I think about it, it's like, you know, this is
Dude.
the guy who did the kids running through the walls and breaking down everything. And like, that's, yeah, I'm excited.
Like I said, do I think it's going to be like some 10 out of 10 masterpiece, give it all the Oscars? But I mean, dude, I think it has the opportunity to be like a solid 8 out of 10 movie, you know, like a 4-star movie that, you know, maybe it will get like we don't see horror get nominated for stuff very often, and Weapons got nominated, right? So I don't know, man. I think we're in good hands, and I think the haters can eat their socks when it comes out, and it's like awesome, you know. But yeah, as it goes to show though, like anytime you're handling IP, there's going to be negative backlash no matter what. I feel like there's no scenario where you can be like, okay, that's good. They could be like, Steven Spielberg is going to do the Call of Duty movie, and they'd be like, oh, I mean, the guy who hasn't made a good movie since Jaws or something, you know, like there's always haters, man,
sure.
who are just Steven Spielberg haters. And I think there are haters who are like, oh, I didn't think Weapons was that like groundbreaking. And it's like, what are you talking about, man? Like, just enjoy it. Like, it doesn't have to be like some, you know, holy shit, give everybody and the movie an Oscar kind of movie for it to be like above average. You know what I mean? So, and I thought Weapons was very well above average. But I don't know. I'm excited listening to him talk about the games and these breakdowns and stuff. Makes me feel like, as a fan, it's in good hands. Like he really respects the source material, and I think he's gonna know what he can and can't like fuck with. You know?
He does,
So,
and I like that a lot. There's been a few articles about like someone's like digging up dirt about the Call of Duty director, saying how he feels that video game players are weak and like playing
Call
video
of
games
Duty
is weak.
players specifically.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
and it was because he was talking about like you know how he's done these movies that involve the military, and he's like, those are the real heroes, not some guy who's like, you know, if you're like playing Call of Duty in your basement and you're gonna talk shit about my movie, like you don't know the guys who are really doing this stuff, you know. That's kind of the context that it was, and this was in 2013.
Okay.
So like this is like them dragging up some comment from Twitter and trying to cancel them, you know.
I see.
Like that's what it felt like to me. So again, like fuck off. I think Peter Berg, when it comes to the military, he's somebody that I always respect because he gets things accurate. And as somebody who's friends with a lot of people in different branches, and I served, that you know, accuracy when it comes to military stuff really does matter to me. And so I think he's going to bring that to Call of Duty. Like he's going to embrace like the modern realistic aspects of it, you know?
Awesome.
I don't know.
That's gonna
I
be
think
awesome.
again, I think that's in good hands. I think Taylor Sheridan and Peter Berg that's a very good duo to do a military film. I mean, the guy who did Lone Survivor and the guy who wrote Sicario are doing Call of Duty. Like, how does that not sound like a good idea?
Yeah, it's a great idea. I'm very excited about it.
By the way, Steven Spielberg did almost do a Call of Duty movie like back in the day, I think.
That's
Uh,
what they
that's
say.
why I brought that up, but that's funny. No matter what, though, if it's an IP, there's going to be negativity and a lot of pressure. So I just hope if I ever get that kind of pressure, I'm ready for it. Because
Yeah.
that is like, I mean, oh, I can't imagine being handed Texas Chainsaw Massacre like that, dude. Just out of nowhere. And I apparently that's something he's always wanted to do, by the way, before we move on to our Netflix story here. But Curry Barker is like that I've seen because on Instagram I follow him and I follow like, some of the other people that have worked with him and they're like, holy shit, that's awesome. Like he talks about Texas Chainsaw Massacre all the time. So it's really cool to see that he got to do that. It's like it's somebody getting like their dream job basically. So, anyways, anything else about Resident Evil? I still have not. I haven't played more than like 40 minutes of the new one. I really need to play that game. Yeah,
No, I don't have much to say else. I've been playing the hell out of Resident Evil 9 though. I did a
like
speed run
currently,
of it. Oh yeah. I just finished a 3-hour speed run of it the other day.
that's crazy.
They give you like a trophy if you do it less than 4 hours and credits and stuff. So I used my credits to get the RPG. So now I can play the game with an RPG. That's pretty
That's
nice.
awesome. Very
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I look forward to playing it.
Yeah.
On top, once I get through editing my feature film. uh, so our last big story that we're going to talk about is another piece of positive news, I would say. Pretty much all positive news today, in my opinion. But Netflix is betting big on Narnia. Have you heard about this, Ben?
I did, yeah. It's good to see.
You want to break it down?
Yeah, so they announced like a full 45-day theatrical release window. That's great to hear. Obviously,
Wide release.
yeah, wide release. Greta Gerwig can fucking bring in the cash. Obviously, her last movie made billions. And I think with an event movie like Narnia, if they're really doing it right, they're coming with a lot of confidence to do that 45-day window. Obviously, Greta Gerwig's going to bring it home. The release window, I think, is what's currently in question. They're eyeing February 2027. Is that right?
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's what I was made aware of. I don't know. I think a February movie is for that kind of big thing. It's a little too soon.
I
'Cause,
disagree.
You think so?
Yeah,
Why?
I think if they make it a Valentine's Day movie, there's opportunity for that to be like, oh yeah, take because it kind of appeals to both men and women. I think Narnia, like it has male and female protagonists. Um, I think if they position it as a Valentine's Day movie, it could kill.
That's fair. I mean, they typically lately have been going for pretty Valentine's-y movies lately. Although Madam Web wasn't very Valentine's-y, unless I don't even know. But Wuthering Heights was Valentine's this year. A Valentine's Day Narnia could be interesting. I see it more of as like a spring break kind of movie, like mid-March. But regardless, I'm hyped.
There's a lot of snow, I think, in Narnia, and so I think it also appeals to like the colder weather that you have in February. You know what I mean? Like I'm thinking about February, and I'm like, yeah, no, that makes sense to me.
That's interesting.
It can if they're approaching it the way that I think they are.
Yeah.
But it's I think the one thing I want to bring up, unless you wanted to finish a thought or anything, I think it goes to show that I think Project Hail Mary was a good example of this. The summer is not the only time that you see like big, well-made blockbusters drop anymore. It's become like as early as March now. There's usually something big that spot gets claimed. I think January is still the place that that you see people go like, oh, here we go, it's January, there's gonna be like nothing good this month. And so to me, I think that's an opportunity to like be the standout movie of January. I would like to release around midnight in January if that's possible. um but I think it's really freaking awesome that Netflix is, betting on theatrical. I honestly think them losing the Paramount deal has resulted in them making some pretty drastic decisions, good and bad. But I think this is a good one. I think that this is something that can help keep movie theaters around longer. Because I think they will go away eventually in the sense that they're not going to be in every city anymore. You're not going to be able to go see something in some small city. It's going to be like, oh, if you want to go see something on the big screen, you're going to have to drive a couple hours or drive an hour,
Yeah. Oh, it's going to suck.
Albuquerque is a major city, though, so I don't think it'll be an issue here. I think Flicks Brewhouse is the future, like I've said,
Sure hope so, man.
But 45 days is great. I'm glad that the name or the number 45 seems to be the number that people have settled on, because I was worried it was going to be 30. I think 45 is long enough that the movies will be more likely to extend that, because they'll be like, well, we've already done 45 days. Well, it's doing really well. It's still bringing in, 5 million a week. Let's do another 15 days and make it 60.
Yeah.
Whereas when it's like a 14-day thing or a 21-day thing, they're like, is another 9 days. I mean, but if we drop it on digital right now, it's got buzz. Maybe we just do that. Yeah. And then they just like, oh, that's already out. So, we've seen it happen with Oppenheimer. We saw it happen with, what else was it? Project Hail Mary, recently, where they decided to push back the, digital release. Yeah, I mean, I think that we are finally starting to see things go in a direction where movie theaters can bounce back a little bit. I don't think they'll ever quite hit, like the kind of uptrend that they were showing up until 2019, but I think we can get close to that again, as long as something else doesn't happen. That as long as we don't have a bunch of strikes all of a sudden, which it seems like that's not going to be an issue. As long as there's not another pandemic or something like that, I think movie theaters can go on the up and up. And I'm seeing the chains invest into movie theaters right now. The Cinemark here is being renovated. They've renovated the Regal that has the IMAX on the other side of town, and that's real nice. They got like a better IMAX auditorium and stuff now. They need to update the AMC here. That's what they need to do. Remember when we went, the seats were pretty old in there.
Yeah.
The IMAX was okay, but even the IMAX itself, I was like, man, something's off with the sound here a little bit. It's not perfect.
Sucks.
But the fact that movie theaters are the chains are renovating movie theaters. It seems like they're either closing or they're renovating, like a lot of places. Like a lot of leases are up, I think, like a couple hundred or something this year, they said, for some major movie theaters, and they're not renewing. So it seems like they're betting more on the theaters in major cities. So if you want to be a filmmaker, if you're a filmmaker or somebody who wants to be a content creator who reviews movies, or you want to be somebody who's close to that industry, I think you should move to a major city. Like to me, it makes sense that, it's going to be real hard to make movies in a town where there's not even a movie theater. Just saying. I think that the idea that you have to move to LA is no longer true, but I think you should be in a major city.
I agree. Man, that's such a dark thought. I didn't even consider that. Like the small towns won't even have a theater. But
when I was the first year and a half I was in the Coast Guard, I was in this little town, Port Angeles, and they had a little theater that had like, I think, 4 screens, and it looked like a high school auditorium. It was real depressing. And like, if I wanted to see anything in a better theater, I had to drive to Seattle, which was like 2 hours away or something like that. So
fuck.
Yeah. I saw Fury at that theater, though. I remember that experience. And I also saw, was it The Force Awakens? When did The Force Awakens come out?
2015, 2016.
Yeah, I saw The Force Awakens there. Yeah. So, but yeah, it was a real small town. It was busy though. That place was always busy because there was nothing else to do in that town.
Bro, you're telling me.
So yeah, I think it's a good thing. I'm excited to see Netflix bet on bigger movies, and I hope that leads to kind of that trickle down effect where we're going to start seeing them pick up, follow suit. I mean, Blumhouse, A24, and I think Neon a little bit. I mean, they're really tapping into like these new voices and stuff, and I think the major studios need to do the same. So
I think we'll start seeing it
I think we will.
pretty soon. And just the more breakouts we have outside of the movies, like YouTube and different, social media places, like the better. More Markiplier kind of stories too,
Just need around midnight to make $1 million, and then it'll be like this crazy. It made over 10 times its budget.
Yeah, I hope
that'll
it happens,
be
man.
I don't know about that, but um, yeah, no, I think like I said, most of these news stories we talked about today are encouraging, at least in one way or another, um, or positive. But anything else with these stories you want to touch on?
Not really. Excited for what's gonna happen next month.
Yeah. What's one cool thing that's happened since the last episode?
Oh, I met this producer of one of my favorite films by chance at a party 2 days ago, and he was like saying to someone else there, uh, "Yo, I produced this movie. It's on Netflix," and I was like, "Wait, what?" And I just hijacked that conversation, and then like, it was so cool to meet him. And hopefully we're gonna get lunch this coming week or something because we had a really good chat, and he was so thankful. And it's a little movie that was like a Sundance film and stuff. So that was probably the coolest thing.
Yeah, I'll have to talk to you more about that after this. I
Yeah.
forgot, but when you sent me a voice message this last night, like, dude, you won't believe what just happened. I'm like, oh, that's so cool, dude. That's awesome. That's fucking awesome. That's one thing that I think happens in LA more than anywhere else is you run into these people, man. That happens very rarely
true.
here in Albuquerque, but when it does, it's like that's cool.
Classic LA story. I'm very happy to have. But
one cool thing since the last episode. Well, I'm at 43 minutes into my film. I kind of took a break from editing because I wanted to catch up on some errands that I needed to do. Because my wife and kids are out of town, so I kind of have the house to myself. One of those things was I got a to-do list like software, and
okay,
I'm implementing that, which I think will be really good for just managing like work-related stress, I guess, because I'm getting everything out of my brain and onto like a program that helps me organize it. So it lets me like set priorities for tasks and like deadlines and stuff like that. So I'll report back on that in like a month and tell you if I'm still using it. But it was free, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Love when stuff's free. But I got one that has like an app for my desktop, and there's also an app on my phone, so it's like synced together and stuff. So yeah, excited to implement that. That's one thing I'm looking forward to in the next week. What are you looking forward to?
I don't know. I think I have to do a. I got into another game showcase for Twirl this summer. That's going to be in Summer Games Fest. I can't say what it is just yet, but it's a recognizable one, and it's cool and it's good.
That's awesome, dude.
Thank you. I just have to do a new trailer for it. So I am going to just put my editing hat on again and try to think of a new way to advertise this game, and also adding a new scene. We're working on the downstairs scene. I think I mentioned last episode it was a Christmas scene that I was like thinking about, and yeah, we definitely went through with that. So it's a full on Christmas.
You gonna let me open the baby gate?
It's gonna be like a different way of going down there, but you're gonna be the baby eight's gonna be gone. Um,
Oh
so
man.
I mean, I just
I
if
want to be able to open it.
there's like if I let you open it on one fucking loop, then you're gonna think like, well, let me try it on the other ones, and then if it doesn't open on all the other ones, it's gonna be really disappointing and like
Think
drop.
so? It's like your doors situation where you're like, oh, I gotta check both. You gotta check and see if it opens.
Okay, that's actually a fair note. I'm gonna actually write that down. Sorry, that's actually a fair note. I should take this feedback. Sorry. Yeah.
Make
Thank
it
you.
a little. You can make it a little puzzle. Like you have to find a paper, and then once you grab that paper, you can do it or whatever.
I'm still working on writing out that exact flow of that scene, so that actually is very helpful. But I'm looking forward to
Cool,
getting
man.
more of that done.
Yeah, that now when I play this, I'm like, all right, I'm going straight to the baby game. No, I'm just kidding. No, I've got a quick little story to share that I forgot to share with you that was pretty fucking crazy. And
Okay.
I since I didn't say what I'm looking forward to in the next week, which basically it's just like continuing to get on top of stuff. Something happened a couple of weeks ago, and every once in a while I'll still think about it. So you remember how in New Jersey there was that huge drone thing where they're like, "Oh my gosh, there's drones in the skies," and like everybody's freaking out to like, "What are these? Are they from China?" All that stuff. I
Yeah.
saw one.
With the balloon and everything.
No, it's not a balloon, man. These drones that people were filming. They looked like these huge, just like quiet drones that were flying around. One flew over my neighborhood.
Whoa.
It was so creepy, bro, because it made no noise and it was the size of a sedan and it flew over
Oh,
me. It was like 100 feet above me, dude.
holy
It
shit!
just it
Did you
just
record
flew.
it?
No, because I was driving and there was a car behind me, so I rolled down my window and I like looked up at it and it just like just kind of like whispered over us with and it didn't have any blinking lights, but it had lights on it like so that you know what side you're looking at, like a plane, like green and
Yeah.
red. But I saw a plane go by after that, and it had like, and I'm like, it didn't have that blinking like transponder light. Like this thing did not want to be seen, but it was gone so quick, dude, and it was fucking huge. Like to the point where I was like, dude, if we like, first of all, why was that thing flying over my neighborhood? Is there
Yeah.
something creepy going on, And
Yeah.
also, like, I don't want to dox myself and say where I live, but it makes sense why it would come over that part of the city, like kind of like an entry point. But I don't know what the hell it was doing. We have like we have a bunch of nuclear science facilities here, and we have like that big Air Force base.
Oh
Um,
fuck.
there's that general that like went missing a couple months back. Did you hear about that? He worked at like the base where like they said they took the area they took the Roswell crash material too and stuff like that. So
Oh
um
shit. Does that have anything to do with like the missing scientists or the scientists that are like
yes.
dying and stuff?
Yeah,
Bro.
he's one of dude, like 3 of those scientists were here that went missing. Dude, I don't know what the hell's going on in
Sleep with one eye
Albuquerque, bro,
open.
but dude, every time I'm outside at night now, I'm like looking at the skies. But dude, it was like jet black so that you couldn't really see it until it was like really close. Whisper quiet, and it was huge, man. I'm saying like
Whoa.
it was like the size of my Mustang. It was huge, man.
That's
Huge.
so crazy. That's so crazy. I don't know what to think if I was to see that. I would just be such a
It is not legal to fly that low, and that thing is the size of an aircraft. So I don't know whose it was, what it was doing, but
yeah.
it creeped me the hell out.
Fucking full car sized worth of those. Like that's
It
like a
was
mini plane. That's like a weird.
it was like a mini plane. It was huge, man. It was huge. And it was so quiet. Have you heard those little drones? They make that like
Yeah.
yeah. This thing made no noise. There was like a little hum to it, but it was like so quiet that like if you were inside you wouldn't hear it.
It's so wild.
I don't know how I kept forgetting to tell you this, but anyways,
Yeah, that's
there
a
you go,
cool.
guys.
That's a cool story.
That's one cool thing. If you call that cool, it's
Cool.
I'm
Yeah.
like, why is that flying around my neighborhood, bro? What's going on? Oh,
Fucking hell.
very creepy. But there's your fun little story. I'll let you know if I see anything like that again.
Yeah,
Oh
please.
my gosh. But next episode, I think we're going to talk about shot listing, which is something I just learned a lot about, and I definitely have some tips that I've learned the last couple of films I shot listed. So excited to talk about shot listing. If you are somebody who wants to direct movies and you don't know what shot listing is, you are not gonna want to miss that episode, because I think shot listing is one of the most important and often overlooked things about indie filmmaking. And when we talk about planning and how important pre-production is, I literally think pre-production is like, when they say it's like 25% of like, how the film is made, I think it's like that 25% impacts, it has the most impact on the rest of the film. And shot listing is like a very crucial 5% of that. Like it's so important for planning and going in with something set up so that you're not set up for failure, basically. So so we're gonna have some fun talking about shot listing next episode. Before we go, thank you to our Patreon supporters who signed up for another month. We appreciate the support. You're allowing us to continue doing this. As always, I'm Derek J. Bowder.
I'm Ben Escobar.
And this is the Fellowship of the Script. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again soon for the next episode. Until then, keep creating, keep pushing, and keep telling stories that matter. I'm going to go grill some steaks.
That sounds great.